Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the One UT Collaboration and Innovation Grants Information Session. I'm Stacy Patterson. I'm the Vice President for Research Outreach and Economic Development for the University of Tennessee. And with me today, I have a couple of people. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jorge Perez. I'm Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success.
This is Heather Morgan. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Research Outreach and Economic Development.
Now, a couple of housekeeping items. We have muted everyone's line, and so when we get to a point where if you want to ask a question, you will be required to unmute your own line. But at the end of this, we'll definitely encourage questions. But we needed to mute those lines because we were getting some feedback here in the room. So. With that, I think it's exciting. We've got 165 people, 66, it's climbing on the line, so we'll go ahead and get started. So the One UT Collaboration and Innovation Grants this is the first time that we've offered something like this system-wide. It's a one-time grant competition right now that will provide UT faculty and staff with funding of up to $50,000 to promote the university's mission to educate, discover, and connect. So Heather, we've already introduced ourselves, but we should note that this presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded at the president's website at president.tennessee.edu/1UT-grants. So the purpose of the program is really to promote the university's mission, the three-pronged mission to educate, discover, and connect. We have an overall goal that we want to support innovative ideas that are going to create new collaborative opportunities and really advance the university system-wide in areas of student success, and access, research and outreach, and then engagement with our communities. So we want to encourage proposals from any faculty member or staff from the UT system. It's open to all disciplines. And we want to point out that this is also for groups of people in administration and groups that typically aren't traditionally connected with the sponsored research programs. Our plan is to invest up to $1.5 million this year, and we want to promote collaboration, have clear measurable outcomes, and demonstrable sustainable impacts to the University of Tennessee well beyond the period of the grant. So we will be forming an evaluation committee of these grants, of the proposals, and that committee will be appointed by the Office of Academic Affairs and Student Success and the Office of Research Outreach and Economic Development. Now, we should say one thing is that we made the decision not to have all proposals route through the Cayuse SP system because we found that actually some staff members within the UT system don't have access to Cayuse currently. But if a proposal is selected for funding, those proposals will be required to route through Cayuse SP, and that is primarily to get the sign off and okay from the supervisors that are in the chain of command for that unit. Okay. Next slide.
Next.
Having a little technical difficulty here.
Okay, there it is. I'm going to talk about the proposals in the category of educate. We know that all of the campuses already implement high-impact practices and advising, mentoring, various transfer initiatives, co-curricular programs, and the like. Yet unacceptable numbers of students continue to fall short of degree completion. So these grants in the educate category aim to make the UT system a leader in areas such as student belonging, resilience, persistence, and degree completion. We're looking to incentivize innovative, scalable initiatives that can be leveraged system-wide.
Okay. And in the Discover category, we know that research, scholarship, and creative activity will fuel the education and engagement missions of the university, and they promote the transfer of knowledge to the world. So in the Discover grant category, we want to specifically aim the collaboration that will pursue new research, scholarship, or creative activity that's of high value to that discipline or disciplines involved. We would encourage interdisciplinary approaches, and a project should demonstrate the way that it will further what will go on to further pursuit and impact of the work to better prepare the team for future large collaborative initiatives. That doesn't necessarily mean large funding initiatives, but what would, in this category, what would allow that team to go after something big in their field. In the Connect category, we're really seeking ideas, new ways for the university to better connect to our communities. So this category is aimed to support ideas and projects that will help the University of Tennessee connect with those communities. And we're looking for exceptionally innovative ideas that will have high impact in the community need. So reaching out to a community partner to better understand what they need, or having that partnership in existence will really help in this category. Next slide. So again, we're opening this up to all UT faculty and staff at all campuses, institutes, and extension or field offices. So if you're an employee of the University of Tennessee, this program is for you. We have tried to make the application process as simple as possible, and we'll go through that process here in just a moment. And these proposals should really represent new ideas that will impact UT's impact on the state and beyond in one of the three areas. This shouldn't necessarily be just an extension of one's current work. So we're looking for new things. We're looking for ideas that are going to move the needle, if you will, and that need a little proof of concept funding or need some funds to really help move them along. And we found that some of these smaller amounts of dollars can really move the needle, especially in novel areas. So next slide. So the format, again, we've tried to keep this as simple as possible. It's a downloadable form and application, and we will not accept other forms of the application. So we do expect proposers to adhere to not only the questions that we're asking and the page limits that we've set, but also to the form that we've put together. And we're looking at proposals should address 5 basic areas. So the first area is the project description, and that will just be a simple providing an overview of the proposed project and your overall goals for the project. Then number 2, we want you to describe the team that's involved and any internal or external partners partnerships that the project will promote. We'd like you to describe that there. Then the work plan. This is where some specific kind of statement of work or statement of project should take place. It should provide a timeline with milestones for completion. And then number 4 is a section called Outcomes and Impact. And we're looking for people to describe their assessment plan. How are they going to measure the impact of the project? What are the potential outcomes? And how this project is aligned with the UT strategic plan. And if you go to the president's website, you can find the UT strategic plan and its 5 goals. And so how is your project going to align in helping us to move toward the goals set out in that strategic plan, of which all the campuses and institutes plans are moving toward those goals as well. And then in number 5, we're looking for budget and budget justification. So just a quick outline of your project budget and providing a justification of why you need the funds in each category. So just to clarify there, you can use this money for labor, you can use it for materials or services that you need to achieve the proposed work project. We would welcome cost share. We're not requiring any cost share here, but we'd also like you to list any cost share that's available. Because this is an internal UT project, indirect costs are not allowed, and funds may not be used for the faculty member's salary. But it may be used for students, postdocs, or technical staff support as required. So these grants should not be used, though, to offset someone's summer salary, for instance, of a faculty member. So we're limiting these proposals to 3 pages. We're going to allow 2 additional pages, one for figures that may be needed, and one figures and one for references. But the meat of the 5 questions should be included within that 3-page limit. And we will not accept the proposals that exceed the 5-page limit. Next slide. So here's the time frame. So today is December 12th. We're having our information session. The proposals are due on February 3rd. We plan to then review the proposals with the committee, and awards will be announced April 6th of 2020, and projects will then start soon thereafter, and they are planned to be completed within a 2-year time frame. So we're allowing up to 2 years for these projects, but I would imagine that most of these will be done within a 1-year time frame, and then a final report is due no later than August 9th of 2022. So how will we judge these proposals? We have 4 main criteria that we're looking at. We're looking at innovation. So is this project, does it creatively rethink a challenge or a problem, or identify a new problem area that we're not aware of? Does the proposal leverage existing resources in an innovative way? So what's the innovation here that's being proposed? The second criteria, these are all equally weighted at 25%, is collaboration. So does the proposal engage partners across disciplines, campuses, and communities? Or is it just one person's lab or one person's group? We're really looking for people to reach out beyond themselves and again, approaching problems in an interdisciplinary kind of way. And does the proposal amplify or enlarge the work of others? So those are the criteria we're looking for collaboration. Impact, we're looking, does the assessment plan clearly articulate measurable outcomes? So we want to be able to measure the impact of this up to $1.5 million that the University of Tennessee is investing in these ideas. We also want to know, we'll be measuring to what extent is the project self-sustaining beyond the initial investment. So after the $50,000 is gone, is this just going to drop off, or is this something that has the potential to keep having impact beyond the term of the award? And then does this, the last criteria there is, does this project lend itself to to an extension to a broader group of beneficiaries. So is this an idea that could be implemented across the UT system at different campuses if it's successful as a pilot project within a certain group? And then the last area is alignment with the UT system strategic plan. And we're asking people to explicitly demonstrate that they're calibrating with the system strategic plan and its goals, and what elements are directly referred to in the proposal. Okay. So a couple of common questions that we've received so far is, can I submit multiple proposals? We say sure to that, but each proposal should represent an independent idea. So we really don't want to see the same proposal in each of the 3 categories. We'd really like for each proposal that's submitted to be an independent idea submitted to one category. Then the second question that we've heard is, do I submit through Cayuse? And the answer to that is no, not at this point. Each proposal will be submitted as a PDF file sent to the oneutgrants@tennessee.edu email address. And so that's the only way we're going to accept proposals, is through that email as a PDF file, again, with the 5-page maximum limit. 3 pages for the proposal, 2 pages for the appendices. And if the review committee decides to fund your proposal, however, that funding will be contingent, the transfer of funds will be contingent upon successful routing through Cayuse, basically just to get the sign off from the chain of command within your unit. And so we're asking proposers to please not submit through Cayuse until a contingent award you've been notified of a contingent award. And then the third question that we've heard is, does my proposal have to involve more than one campus? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't have to involve more than one campus. However, again, we are looking for collaborative ideas. Collaboration is 25% of the scoring criteria, and so we're looking for people to partner across discipline and with their communities, and those proposals will be scored more favorably than ones that don't include that collaboration component. Cross collaboration across campuses would be really welcomed, and it's something we definitely want to we want to encourage that, but it is not required. So I've done a lot of talking, and I would welcome questions from the more than 200 people that we have on the line.
And we've got several questions that have been chatted into us. If you would please unmute your line and ask the question verbally, that'd help us out.
Hi, this is Kimberly Eck, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Research Development at the University of Tennessee Knoxville campus. A question that I've received is, can these funds be used to host a workshop or conference that would include representatives from throughout the country?
Yeah, so Kim, thanks for the question. Yeah, I don't think that we definitely have not put a limit on that. So we would welcome that, as long as the conference could show a demonstrated impact on the University of Tennessee and the efforts that we're trying to make. Then I think that we would not limit funds for that purpose. That would be just fine.
Okay, next I'd like to recognize John Scheffner who has a question. John, can you please unmute your line and ask your question?
Still muted.
John Scheffner, are you still muted?
I'm trying not to. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, John.
Okay. So my question is about the issue of faculty salary. I understand you don't want to pay faculty salary, but will you pay course release for faculty? That money would go to the department, not to the individual. I think it's an important thing to do if you really want to recognize, the innovation piece and the amount of work that, this work might take. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John, for the question. I think that this is the first time that we're doing this program. So, and Dr. Linda Martin couldn't be here today with us. So I'd like to defer that question and get back with, we'll put that on the webpage as an answer, because I don't want to answer too quickly and give you the wrong answer. So if that's okay with you, we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it looks like Brian Long has a question.
Yes, will these grants allow for the purchase of equipment or support travel?
Yes, those are allowed within what we have envisioned. So yes.
Okay, looks like Odessa.
Hi, Heather. I'm just getting here along with a colleague of mine, and both of us were held up in a faculty meeting. Did you say where the recording would be made available?
I'm sorry, we didn't catch that question.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We didn't catch your question. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, sure. So my colleague and I were held up in a faculty meeting. We weren't able to make it, apparently. How can we access the recording?
Oh, so it will be on the president's website. It's at president.tennessee.edu/1-UT-grants/.
Would you be able to put that in the chat?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you. It doesn't look like the chat has history, so if it was posted before, I can't see it now.
Okay. Do we have other questions?
I had posted that I had a question. So this is Mika Beck. I'm on the phone.
Okay.
I actually have two. One question is our grant development costs, especially things like art, but also perhaps consultants, are that kind of costs allowable as expenses?
Yeah, so what we said, let me go back to, so grant development costs, I think, can be included. And we did say that they could be used for students, postdoc, or technical staff support. It can be directed toward labor, materials, and services necessary to achieve the proposed work or project. So I think the answer to your question is yes. But I think if you're talking about developing a bigger program, I hope it's a bigger collaborative program. I think will be scored favorably in that case.
Okay, so the other question has to do with collaboration. So is it allowable to have, if we want to collaborate with other institutions, can we have them as, is there subcontractors or vendors? Is that kind of thing allowable? Or is this all essentially, what are the rules about that, particularly internationally? Are there any restrictions?
Right, so all the funds, the $50,000 funds, what should be spent at the University of Tennessee, or if, I guess if you had a services contract, we could consider it for a consultant. But I think going to another university, that's not the intent of these funds. If you wanted to, if that was going to another campus of the University of Tennessee system, I think we would highly encourage that. But I think the bulk of the funds at least should stay at the University of Tennessee at one of our campuses or institutes.
Okay, but how about field work, particularly if it's international? Is that considered spent at the University of Tennessee?
Can you repeat that, please?
I'm saying field work, particularly if it's international, is that allowable? That is money spent traveling or going, particularly internationally. This is not giving the money to other researchers, but spending it on UT research elsewhere.
Yeah, so travel is allowable. And as long as the money is being spent to promote the University of Tennessee's project, I think it would be considered. That would be probably one of the negotiations if the project were awarded. That would be something we would probably ask for clarification on after.
Okay, thanks.
Brian Steven.
Heather, can you hear me? This is William Hardy.
I can. I think we have a question from Brian Stevens. I'll recognize Brian first, and then we'll go with William.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather. Brian Stevens, University of Tennessee. Kind of three different things and wondering which would be most preferred. One, the development of a new idea, which you mentioned. Two, the expansion of a current idea at your university. Or three, which I'm maybe trying to think about now, the proliferation of a current idea at our university throughout the Tennessee system. I think that's where my mind is going. I don't know if that last would be very favorably viewed.
Yeah, so that's exactly the one of the points of this program is to come up with new ideas that either bring together the campuses of the and different units of the University of Tennessee, or ideas that can be transferred and extended out to other units within the University of Tennessee. So it sounds like you may have three independent ideas, and so maybe three independent proposals.
Thank you very much.
Okay, William?
Yeah, Heather, this is Pat Hardy in the Institute for Public Service, Municipal Technical Advisory Service. We had in mind a project that would, under the Connect category, that would benefit a specific community and then have application across the state for different communities. But you just mentioned that the bulk of the dollars should be spent at the university. So does the Connect category going to consider projects that would be in the field?
Yeah, yes, as long as it is supporting the University of Tennessee's work in the field.
Okay. And then my second question was under the collaboration component, is it okay for the grant proposal dollars to leverage funds from other institutions or agencies or cities or communities?
Absolutely. So we're not requiring cost share. We're not requiring cost share, but it will definitely be considered. We'd like for you to include if there's cost share or leverage dollars available.
Thanks, Heather.
Okay, we have a question. Can a proposal address more than one category, for example, Innovate and Connect?
Sure, but it needs to be submitted into one category. So you need to pick the category that it best fits and submit that proposal in that particular category. We will not accept duplicate proposals in multiple categories.
We have a question from Andrea. Will a list of the selected proposals / projects for awards be posted online?
Yes, yes, with abstracts.
Okay, next question is a multiple PI is a multi-PI allowed or even encouraged?
Absolutely. So the idea, one of the criteria here is around collaboration. So having multiple PIs across disciplines, across campuses, would definitely be encouraged and looked favorably upon.
Okay, Victor has a question. Will the grants allow for partnership with UT PTAC? Victor, can you unmute your line and provide some more context on this about what PTAC is?
Yes, thank you. UT PTAC, well, there's an office here.
Can you speak up just a little?
There's an office here in Chattanooga, Paul Middlebrooks.
Victor, we are having trouble hearing you. Your voice is very low. The volume.
Sorry about that.
Victor, if you could put follow-up details in the chat, that would be helpful as we're having trouble hearing you.
Okay, will do. Sorry about that.
Okay, we have a question. Will partial funding be granted?
Yes. So you don't have to apply for the full $50,000. Actually, we can do a lot more awards if people apply for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 projects. We expect that your budget justification to match the project, and so we will we'll be looking for projects that make the most of the funding that's available. So I think that's what you mean by that question, but if not, please clarify.
Another question, are there any types of faculty, for example, directors, who cannot be listed as a PI?
No, this is open to all faculty and staff. So any faculty member or staff, regardless of rank or of rank and file, are eligible for applying.
We have some questions too, I've noticed, that have come in regarding the number of pages allowed for the proposal. And we also have one about allowable font size and margins. So could you explain a little bit about the 5-page limit, what you expect to be on those pages, and about font size and margin?
Yeah, so the form that we have developed is a fillable PDF form. And so it will limit your margins as part of the form. We expect this to be probably no less than 10-point font. We really need to be able to read these, and if we have to struggle to read them, that probably won't be a favorable review.
Another question, can the funds be used to pay for R&D staff at UTK research centers?
Yes, any faculty or staff. It's open to any faculty or staff.
To pay them, funds to pay them?
R&D staff, yes.
Okay, great. Next question from Melody. Can funds go toward staff time at a nonprofit partner organization?
I'd need some more information about that specific question. I don't know, Melody, if you could clarify your question a little bit. I guess it depends on what you mean by partner.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, hi, this is Melody. Yeah, so we are a partner organization with the architecture program already, and so we're just talking about kind of expanding what that looks like in the community with some of our other programming that we have, and are wondering if that's like so we'll be in that collaboration category. So specifically
I think we would be interested in supporting UT staff time to work with that nonprofit. but likely not the staff time of people working for the nonprofit.
Okay.
Okay, we have a question, and apologies, Odessa Carodego. I saw some chats that you sent in earlier, and I'm not sure we got to them. You have asked a question about whether we can include an international collaborator.
Yes. International collaboration is encouraged.
By that I mean, like, can the international collaborator also use
impact? I think that's.
Someone has unmuted themselves and is trying to ask us a question, but we cannot hear them. Their volume is too low. It looks like we do have additional information on the question for, let's see, Victor. Can the funds be used for annual matchmaker and vendor fair / expo? Is an opportunity for women, minority, disabled owned and small business owners to interact with the various departments at the university and introduce their goods and services.
Again, I think the funds should be spent for UT's support of that organization, if that's appropriate, not for to the organization itself.
Okay, Bethany M. has asked, should we factor the funds that go to the Office of Sponsored Projects in the budget breakdown?
So that these are, as we said in the presentation, these are direct funds. So it's $50,000 in direct funds. There are no indirects allowable on these awards.
Shannon has asked if the funds can be used for marketing and advertising of the program.
Yes, in fact, in the, we have, you'll see in the criteria that's been published, we welcome the ideas around using public media as radio, TV, print media, social media platforms, podcasts, those kinds of things. Using those innovatively is something that we think could have large impact, and we would welcome proposals in those areas.
I want to add something. There have been a number of questions about collaboration outside of the UT system. That certainly is encouraged, but the emphasis of what we're looking for in the proposals is impact on the UT system. So I think as long as there is demonstrable, measurable impact within the UT system, then collaboration of all sorts is allowed.
Okay. Jennifer has a question. Can funds go to stipends for UT faculty participation in the project?
So we're not, I don't know exactly what you mean by stipends, but we've said the funds cannot be used for faculty salaries.
Victor has asked, can funds be used to create a marketing campaign that focuses on DBE spend successes, add video, website, social media component to UT sites?
As long as you can, yes, as long as you can demonstrate the impact to the University of Tennessee.
Next question, is the salary of postdocs allowable?
Yes.
Okay, we have reached the end of the questions. If you have asked a question that hasn't been answered yet, please go ahead and stick it back in the chat so we can get to it. We have a question from William. Can funds be used in service orders to industry partners that help complete the research?
In service orders, do you, if you mean if helping, spending the money at UT to help promote that project would be fine. It should not, the funds should not go to the industry partner.
Could I answer? This is William Miller. My question more specifically, if I have a component that I have designed at the University of Tennessee, but I want to have it tested according to American Society of Testing Materials protocols, and I have a independent company who does that work, I would want to ship the respective device to them and have them test it for us, because we don't have that facility here. Is that doable?
So we said that we would allow, we would allow services necessary to achieve the proposed work or project.
Thank you.
So I think the short answer is yes.
Okay, looks like Jennifer has some clarifying information to her earlier question. Earlier she asked about, can funds go to stipends for UT faculty participation in the project? And she's added some clarity. She's not talking about faculty salaries. She's talking about to promote buy-in and participation in the project to further the impact.
What's the question?
She's clarifying what the funding would go to for faculty. She's not categorizing them as salaries, but as stipends to promote buy-in and participation in the project to further the impact.
Well, if a stipend comes as a salary dollar, then for faculty, that's not allowable in this program.
Okay, are there any further questions? I apologize if we've overlooked one. This is your chance to type it back into the chat. We'll give it a minute. Can funds be used for faculty and staff to obtain certificates for the program?
We'll need some more clarity on that.
Can funds be used for soft money supported staff?
Yes.
Is there a minimum number of PIs?
There's not a minimum number of PIs. However, we are trying to promote collaboration through this program.
Okay, another question concerning the space limit on the proposals, the number of pages. Is it allowable to integrate the 5 key questions with figures and timeline into a 5-page limit, or do you want the figures to follow the 3-page limit?
The figures should follow the 3-page limit. So we have 3 pages for the 5 questions, and then we have 2 pages of appendices, 1 for references, 1 for figures.
Next question is, are proposals that are mostly student-led viable?
Yes, as long as they have a faculty or staff sponsor.
Can funds be used to provide construction certification programs?
I don't know much about construction certification programs, but as long as it would have, if the project would have impact on the University of Tennessee, absolutely.
Next question. So does a proposal need to designate which component it's addressing?
Yes, on the form, you will, it's supposed to be a very simple form, your name, your campus, your department, the project title, and then you will have an opportunity to select one of the 3 categories. And again, you can only submit 1 proposal. We can't accept duplicate proposals for multiple categories.
Next question is, will the proposals be renewable?
No, this is a one-time program. This is we have one-time funds available, and then the president and the board will review the impact of this program to determine how it moves forward. If there's none.
Okay. Can 2 proposals be submitted under 1 category?
Yes, as long as they have as long as they're an independent idea and project.
Okay, we have some follow-up information from Victor about the construction certification. The question is, could the funds be used to provide construction certification programs that students from local high schools can participate in?
Yes, as long as it's promoting as long as the funds are being used to support the University of Tennessee's engagement in that program.
Next question, will continued funding options be necessary to include in the budget, or does that depend on the timeline of the project?
Continued funding options. So I think this question is asking, do you have to have follow-on funding to be viable? And the answer is no. I mean, these projects can be kind of independent and complete in this program. But we are encouraging ideas that projects that will lead to follow-on funding or larger types of impacts.
Okay, we have a question referring back to our slides. Each component is worth 25%. Does that mean each component is allocated 25%?
So the scoring matrix is on a 100-point scale. You can receive up to 25 points in each of the 4 categories, depending on how well your proposal responds to that part of the program.
Next question, can the funds be used to obtain a financial literacy certification through WISE for financial wellness, peer financial coaches and staff?
If the project can demonstrate, if the funds are being used at the University of Tennessee and can demonstrate how that certification will impact the University of Tennessee in one of these 3 categories, then yes.
So I think to follow on from what Stacy is saying, obtaining that certification would be perhaps part of that proposal, but the development of a program to extend financial literacy among UT students, that's what we would be looking for, a demonstrable impact on the University of Tennessee for that project.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for their time and attention today. I think this is an exciting opportunity. As we said at the beginning, this is the first time the University of Tennessee system administration has been able to do a program like this. And so I look forward to seeing everybody's creative ideas and new ways that we can build the University of Tennessee in our 3 areas of impact, and to educate, discover, and connect the citizens of Tennessee in the state and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.